What's up, sassy gamers? Today is December 16th, 2021, and we're almost at the end of the year here on Got Our Attention Podcast. It's actually like a throwback day, because with me today, I just have Brian.
Yeah.
What's up, Brian?
Yeah, it ends up Demurin and Daydrinker are on assignment. So it's back to, at least temporarily, how we started this all out was just me and you.
Yeah, they're probably drunk on a beach somewhere, I would think, if I had to guess.
You know, if I were them, I would be. Because it's fall, winter, depending on where you lived previously and how you determine this level of chilliness. You know somewhere else that it's not this chilly and it is definitely warm and beach-like somewhere. God, to be in Australia right now.
Yeah, it is weird. I ever think about the Western Hemisphere and how weird like their seasons are. It's like, because they're like in summer right now, right? Or spring or something.
Not Southern Hemisphere, not Western.
Southern. Well, it's Western Hemisphere. But they're like
South.
South. Okay, whatever. Somewhere in the world. It's the opposite of us. But like they're like, because we're going to winter, they're going into like spring or going into summer or something.
Yeah, they're spring going into summer.
That's
so they're getting, well, I mean, it's weird, yeah, that people are like hitting the beaches and all that stuff. What's weird is people going to the beaches and enjoying a sunny beach day on Christmas. That's what wrinkles your mind.
I mean, I guess you can if you can.
But
this camera will not focus on me.
I'm so sorry. You got it in product mode. You got to turn off product mode.
Yeah, there it goes. Maybe.
It sees the product there and it wants to focus in on it.
Screw the product.
Yeah. And luckily I'm so close to the mic that even focuses on my mic as opposed to mic. It'll still focus on my face a little bit. And God knows people don't want too much focus on my face.
Speaking of Mike, since Kelly's not here, I decided to hijack it. And today, let's go into Mikey's Corner. You know, it's not as bad as I expected it to be. I knew you would change the music.
Expecting Ford, weren't you?
I was expecting Ford. I said, I'm going to change this. He's going to change it too, just to be.
Well, it's thematically correct.
It worked. I was okay. I was okay with that.
I was trying to pick one that would like fit you.
Sweet. Well, that was cool.
I did honest effort. I didn't.
Yeah.
I was so tempted just to do Ford and make you mad.
I know. I thought about it. I was like, I'm going to do this to be funny, and it's going to end up bad. So the first thing in Mikey's Corner today is there's an article that I saw. It was kind of just, it's one of those things, if you have a cat or if you're a fan of cats or if you've ever just been around a cat, whether you like them or not, you'll know that they literally have like, three things they think about, like food, sleeping, and plotting your death. That's the three things that they typically think about.
That is being a person who likes cats, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I mean, I actually saw a drawing. I was on Reddit the other day. It was like the brain, and it shows like the little different parts of the brain and what portion. And it's like a dog. It's like love and affection, and all this food and all that stuff. And then the cat's like food, and then it's like plotting your death. It's like strip plotting murder or something like that. Anyway, so I saw this article. It's a Saloon article, and it says a talking cat is giving scientists insights on how felines think. And this cat's name is Billy. Billy? Billi?
Billy.
If Daydrinker was here, she'd probably correct me, I'm sure.
It is a female cat, so yes, that's Billy, femalized.
Okay. So the idea is they have this device. They called it a augmentative and alternative communication device, an AAC. And typically they use these for dogs to try to get them to communicate with their owners, which is typically
there's a big study that's been going on with that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's typically pretty easy with dogs because dogs are, like man's best friend. They typically already tell you and kind of try to communicate with you already. And you can, train the dogs to bow out a certain way or whatever, howl a certain, whatever for food and different things. I mean, look at Lassie. You could teach Lassie to find Timmy or whatever. So this person, basically, she is, I was saying Kendra Baker, I believe. She has a cat, and she said, if they're able to do that with dogs, I think we should be able to do this with my cat. So she's actually trained her cat to be able to use what they have is like push buttons on these different little tiles, and when they push the button, it says a certain word. So she's like, the first way I'm going to try to teach this cat this thing is by teaching it the word food. And she said after like 50 times or so, the cat was pretty on point with food. Problem was like that's the only button that the cat wanted to push because obviously food. She said literally, she said I started with a word that I'd not really recommend that you start with, which is food, because it becomes very motivating for them. And Billy loves food. She goes, so
Billy's a cat.
Yeah, she was definitely hungry for it. Or I'm sorry, she was definitely heavy enough for it. And then I later regretted starting with food because it kind of backfired on me, but it definitely got the ball rolling.
Yeah, and the heavy enough comes from the buttons are fairly large, and they were made again essentially for a dog to do, and cats typically being smaller for people who get real dogs. And
wow,
right? Shots fired. No, but so she was concerned that Billy wouldn't be large enough to be able to actually press the button. And then when she started training Billy on food, she's like, nope, that's not a problem at all.
Yeah. So apparently Billy now knows about 50 words on her board that she can press to be able to ask or to communicate with the owner. And this article gets pretty, intense with all the different things they're doing. I'm not going to go into all of that. I just thought it was pretty interesting that literally like we're going to learn a little bit about cats. And I'm sure if we put up one of those buttons that was murder, I'm pretty sure that the cat would probably be slapping that one quite often. So
again, that's if it wants to tell you about that.
That's true. That would be premeditated. I don't think usually cats do premeditated.
Well, they do. They're just not going to tell you they're going to do it. They're going to surprise you with that shit.
So that was pretty interesting.
Speaking of surprises,
we'll throw it on Twitter, I guess. Yeah, speaking of surprises, the next thing that I thought was interesting especially for, I know how Day Drinker is. She's like all about Halloween and like it's Halloween season, and it's not like, Halloween day has to be like the whole year.
It's a state of
whatever.
life.
Yeah, I'm not like that. I do Christmas though. Christmas is definitely my season that I like, and it's like usually right after Halloween is over. Not really. It's more after right. Thanksgiving is over. Dinner's done. It's now Christmas. We can put up the tree. We can put up the lights. I literally was putting out more Christmas lights today in the yard. Yeah, I am that family. I am that guy who has like projector and like all of the things in the yard and like the figurines and the candy canes, and that's me. We're working on it. We're gonna get better. It has to be
SMH.
Yeah. But one thing that I didn't have, and I'm glad that I don't, this family for Christmas put up their tree, family in South Africa. They noticed that their cats were staring at the tree a little more than usual, which, cats staring at a tree, not too scary because usually they try to jump in the tree and tear it down because why not? But what they did find was a snake hiding in the tree. So they immediately were like, wow, that's a snake. We should probably, figure out what's going on. And the quote
I'm
from
pretty sure they didn't say, wow, that's a snake. We should figure out what's going on.
No, actually the quote from the dad said, he said, I thought, holy Moses, this is the king of all poisonous snakes. He said, I didn't know at the time what it was. So he Googled it, what snakes are in his area, and it came up as the boom slang. And then that's the boom slang is known as a shy species, but it's one of the most venomous in Africa. And the animal's venom causes hemorrhages and can be fatal to humans in small amounts. So being that he has two small children and obviously some cats and looks like a dog in this photo here, that was something that was like, wow, we should probably get someone to take care of it. So he said, like, keep your eyes on it. Don't let the thing move. Make sure it, you can see it the whole time. And they got someone to come out and basically rescue it. And this article is pretty funny because even the things that we talk about, he says, keep their eyes on the snake until his arrival. It said he used the snake tongs to place it on the floor where it was easier to handle. And then he says, He held it. He then held it
Day
behind the
drinker
neck.
when we need her.
He then held it behind the neck and placed it in a snake tube as it was getting dark. He took the reptile home where he temporarily housed the snake enclosure before releasing it back into the wild on Sunday. Yeah, so that's not what I want in my Christmas tree or underneath my Christmas tree. But it was pretty interesting to hear that. Of course, South Africa, like there's all kinds of different crazy things out there. So I feel like it's like Australia, but it's not. But yeah, it's
honestly don't know what I would do. Like, I would like to say that I would have followed that and called someone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think what might happen is I would go get the machete that I have.
Exactly.
And like, you would see, like, first there would be chunks hacked out of the tree, and then there would probably be chunks hacked out of the furniture as the damn thing moved around.
Yep.
Because invariably, I know me, I would go and get the machete, but I would like keep missing the mark, I'm sure.
Yeah, because you're going to.
This thing is going to outsmart the shit out of me.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember being a kid and I was in the backyard of like my friend's house. He was like the neighbor's kid. And his dad was a Marine. And like, whatever. Like, we're in the backyard playing. And I think we came across, like, it was some probably, I don't know what kind of snake. At the time, we were kids. It was a snake. And so we told his mom, and his mom and told his dad. And then his dad, like, we're standing outside, like, watching it from a distance. And his dad runs out there with, like, the Marine saber. Like, pulls it out and just, like, whaps this thing. And I was just like, okay, that's interesting. So
effective.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah. Anyway, so that's your Christmas story of the week, I guess. So just be careful when you're putting up your Christmas tree. Make sure there's no snakes in it.
Christmas story of the week. Don't start a segment on us.
Yeah, no, definitely. Maybe it's Christmas. So she had like a DOI every week. Maybe we'll just do a Christmas story every week, right?
No, actually, no. You know what you need?
I only have one more week.
You need to take, and I'm sure you already have some of these, but each week you need to show a picture of your house, and then as it like progressively gets more and more lights, and then time lapse that shit.
I bet you're gonna say progressively worse, and I was like, I knew you were gonna do that.
Listen, I mean, yes, I can be an asshole. I'm just not an asshole all the time. Weird, I'm actually playing you straight today, so
I know it's really strange. I'm not used to this niceness.
It's because I'm like a cat. I like take you unawares.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get into the news. Live from our separate house studios.
Yes. Literally, I call this my studio. Yeah. So starting off the Game Awards 2021, you can go out and you can look to see what you want on what games won what. I'm pretty sure Cyberpunk 2077 did not win a single thing.
Well, it's actually interesting, not about that, but remember we had tweeted out that there was we thought was a leak. Like we went to the website showed.
Well, and I think it was a leak.
Well, it showed Game of the Year being Ratchet and Clank. And I tweeted about it. And once I tweeted, actually it was like 4 minutes before me, someone else tweeted and they had gotten all the attention. I also used the right tags, whatever. But I also saw that as well. But of course, the actual Game of the Year turned out to be It Takes Two.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know that, go check it out. It's a game that's available pretty much on every platform, I think.
I think it was a leak. I think that's where the audience vote was going.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
Now we'll never know. That was my guess then. That's still my guess now. But yeah, It Takes Two was the winner for Game of the Year. I think what was Cyberpunk 2077 at best RPG? It was
like best score or something, like best music, I thought.
Best music. It was definitely best RPG, which Tales of Arise won that. Let's see if I can find best music for you. You're a music guy. So best performance was Maggie Robinson for Resident Evil Village, the tall woman. And she actually ends up in life a fairly tall woman.
Yeah.
So when she got up and she stood next to like people that I know at approximately how tall that was Best score in music, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 was also in that. Near Replicant version 1.22474487139 was the winner. But that's, I mean, anyone can go and look up the results are. That's, in all reality, that's not really why I watched the Game Awards. I watched the Game Awards for a lot of different things. And one of them very much was for what's coming out. Known and unknown. I mean, they talked about Elden Ring. They dropped not only a new Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers, but they dropped the trailer for the second Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Right. Which was funny because someone had posted on Reddit like the initial, like when the first Sonic came out, like the trailer, and then they were like they showed Tails and then Knuckles. It's like the KEK, like, you know.
Yeah. No, God. The guy was making jokes about it too. He goes, imagine if we, hadn't changed the looks, what these characters will look at, right? The guy that was introducing it was, I swear to God, it was like you were up there, Mike. They were terrible, terrible dad jokes. But,
great.
But in all reality, you really couldn't help but to love the guy. Like he was doing dumb jokes, like exclusive trailer, and he pulled it on this DVD. He goes, no, actually it's not on this. This is a blank DVD. They have it in the back. It's digital, blah, blah, blah. And then he like pulled it out again, doing the gag a second time. The guy was actually not funny, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But there were some fun things. There was the new game from Hideo Kojima, which was very cool. It was Slitterhead. Yes, you heard that right. Slitterhead. Like their heads break apart and they turn into monsters. It's amazing. You should watch that trailer.
Just make another Metal Gear game. That's all. I want Metal Gear.
Oh, he can't. He doesn't own the IP.
Shout out to
Rumbleverse. So this is Rumbleverse is exciting. Like James the Great is going to love this game because it's really cool because they take the concept of battle royale, right?
Okay.
The same concept. No ranged weapons whatsoever. It is a wrestling themed battle royale.
So it's the actual original battle royale. Because I remember back in like wrestling, they used to have like battle royale.
Well, okay, yes, it's wrestling like battle royale there, but not like the original battle royale like the movie battle royale, which is where the genre primarily comes from. But it is a combination of the two. Like goodness knows, they're pulling inspiration from everywhere, right? No, it's really cool. It's got this pretty cool cartoon aesthetic. It's really neat looking. Don't know. I might be able to pull up some. I suggest people go out and check it out because it looks pretty cool. I might be able to show a little bit of it here. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, it's got this pretty cool aesthetic to it. You get shot into the island out of a cannon. You have different outfits. You can climb up. You can do elbow drops off the top of a building, a skyscraper, all the way down to the bottom and just slam people.
See this being really fun.
Oh, it looks amazingly fun. It is. They got signups for beta. I've already signed up. It was very, very funny because they said, "Oh, which of these platforms do you use for gaming?" And I could have checked every one of them off. I just didn't check off the PS4 because I just don't really game on the PS4 anymore. But I was like, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PC, and do you have an Epic account? Yes, I do. So it's like, I plan on being on this beta. This looks like it's going to be a blast. You can hit people with, chairs. You learn new moves by reading a book. You've got a ton of health, which is kind of cool.
It's almost like Smash Brothers in a way.
Kind of, but less, right?
I mean, no offense to any of you Smash Bros out there, like, just take that lightly.
Yeah, it's less than that. That's for sure. Different, very, very different because it's very much a battle royale. It's very like, it looks pretty fun. And here's the cool thing about it. If you fill a certain meter up, I think by doing special moves or something like that, or sacrificing special moves, something like that. If you fill up a particular meter first, then you die, you actually can respawn.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Kind of like, again, now typically in a wrestling battle royale, you can't get back in, but I think they might have some exceptions. Plus, everybody knows everyone cheats in wrestling anyway, so why not,
What?
right?
No.
So Rumbleverse was very exciting. I had not heard about this before then, and now I'm like, okay, that's super cool. Nightingale is something that's coming out.
That game, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet.
It's like this is like where we're gonna connect. You got all the building shit, and you got all like kind of
Right.
the MMORPG fantasy spell shit that I'll take over.
Well, it's very BioShock-esque looking.
Oh,
Like, it's
yeah.
definitely got that creep to it. So that's where I'm like, it's got a little bit of
I
creep
don't know.
to it, but it looks good. It looks great. And plus, like you said,
It's
with the graphics,
fantastic looking.
the portal jumping and having to go different areas and do things like that seems pretty interesting. With all the
Different universes, different worlds, whatever. And building stuff there and working together in an MMORPG style, like
Yeah.
I think this
It was
is
like
going
up
to be
to-
pretty cool.
It looked like up to 6 or 8 players, I think. Can't remember if it was 6 or 7, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. It might not be so
It showed because
MMO as I'm saying, but
it did show like all the characters. I don't know if it specified like that's how many people you can play with, or that's just the different characters you can select from. Because it kind
Yeah.
of showed them at the end of the trailer. And I was just like, I'm not really sure.
yeah, we'll find out more when it comes closer. That's another beta that I tried to sign up for, but it wouldn't let me sign up. It said, put your email, but then it didn't send me the email for verification.
But it's definitely it's the BioShock original BioShock developers that are making this game. So if you do like BioShock, this is definitely going to have like that same feel of like not necessarily copying the game. I'm saying just like the feel of like the way the BioShock's very creepy and this was like Victorian style, so it's all Victorian-esque.
Well,
like,
Asian, very Asian.
Yeah.
Very,
So
very
it's
Asian.
interesting.
With some Victorian, like Victorian style clothing, and I guess maybe Asian's just the particular player models that they picked for it. Because I did see some other player models after that, so that could be a choice.
It was almost like steampunk, but not really. Like I mean, Victorian, obviously, but like it seems very steampunk, but it's not really steampunk. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see, I guess, when we find out more.
It was cool. Okay, so this next one I'm gonna play with sound on. And everybody knows Matrix is back in theaters next week. 31 days after that comes to HBO Max. We're here for sponsorships. Let us know.
Is this
and what they did is they did a Matrix Awakening Unreal 5 experience. Now this thing is 21 minutes long. So no, I will not be showing the whole thing.
It was definitely worth the 21 minutes.
I won't be showing you the whole thing, but I do want to show some of this because it is insane.
I can tell.
Well, it starts off
reality and
damn it.
Well, it literally starts off with Keanu Reeves like talking about how, so many years ago he started this Matrix thing and blah blah blah. And it kind of walks in on the scene of like him and like Morpheus talking or whatever. And then it turns out like what you've been listening to is actually not even Keanu Reeves. Like he looks in the mirror and in the mirror is like actually Keanu Reeves, like actual footage. And he's like, yeah, like everything you've been watching is basically Unreal 5. Like that's nothing's real.
It was insane.
How perfect it was because of the Matrix. Like nothing is real, right? What is real? So it was really cool. That whole intro and then like the parts that you're just showing there, which is the actual gameplay. Like it was almost like watching
again. It's
it was a demo, like
it's a
showcase,
demo, but it was captured live off of PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series. So everything was rendered live. So
mean,
it
was
could be a game, but it wasn't a game that we could play.
Right. But I mean, it looks like the movie. Like if you were to tell my parents, like if you told my dad, hey, watch this new trailer for like the new Matrix movie, he'd be like, okay, cool, that looks great. The thing's blowing up, it looks real, and he'd buy it. Like he would think that's legit a movie, like with just special effects and stuff, because it almost does look that real, which is crazy because we're finally getting to that point where like things actually do look that real.
Yeah. No, I agree. They do. So the only thing I can find on here is that doesn't have people talking over it is the actual trailer, which isn't very long. But it's cool because yeah, the graphics are really incredible looking. Especially when they get close in and on the car, inside the car, like they're doing there a little bit there, and they're talking to each other. I do think some of the things that they were saying was funny because Neo was complaining to Trinity about something, and she goes, "Oh no, this is marketing," and he goes, "Oh, that's even worse."
Yeah.
One thing I thought was interesting is they have this great shot where, you know, she's shooting these cars and you know, like she starts from shooting the ones behind her, right? And she's like, they shoot out the wheels, right? And they shoot out the wheels, and notice every time she shoots out the wheels, it does the exact same animation for the car. Which unfortunately it didn't show very much there. There you go. Yeah, shot that guy out. But watch, she shoots this taxi. See how it does that turn and flip? She shoots another one, the exact same turn and flip over and over again through this whole thing. There's like one big truck later on where it did a different animation, but you can, I'm not trying to take away from the quality. The quality is really good here. Blowing the roof off was really awesome. Even when they switch to where she's shooting cars in front of her, it's the exact same thing. It does the exact same animation just from the opposite side. Here's the only time it's different is this truck right here, which this one was really cool because it's very realistic looking. You shoot out tires, what's it going to do? It's going to kind of grind and lose like traction, won't be able to turn, stuff like that.
Hey man, but it's Michael Bay.
Yeah, it's Michael Bay, exactly. Just really good graphics.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks, like I said, it could be literally a screenshot or a part of a movie and you wouldn't even realize.
Oh yeah, the early parts on where they showed Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss were just stunning, to say the least.
Yeah.
So they did show DLC for the Cuphead. That was pretty exciting for some people. I'm not much of a Cuphead guy, so those are kind of my highlights there.
I got one.
What's that?
Did you see the trailer for Hellblade 2?
Did you listen to the trailer of Hellblade 2?
I watched it, yeah. I listened to it with audio.
Yeah, but did you listen to it?
I mean, yeah, I watched it with audio on. What do you mean?
It was amazing having the interior monologue whispers and like people whispering to her in her mind.
Can you play a little bit of that? Play the trailer of that. Like just go through it.
Let's see if I can get that one up.
That one. So I actually don't know this game. Like a friend of mine, actually, shout out to Captain E. He's like, hey, this trailer. Played the first one.
This trailer was bonkers.
So I was like, let me just check it out. So I clicked it and I was like it's very like obviously like a, I guess a horror game, maybe creepy and action. I don't know what claim this would be, but
okay. Well, the first one compared to this one are two different genres almost. Yeah. This one is supposed to be more of a horror survival, whereas the first one wasn't quite that.
Yeah, but like the part, like you said, with audio, like listening to her whisper.
There.
It's coming. He's here. That's my name. He can smell your fear. What's he saying?
I love that. He can smell your fear, like he, you know, and then one of them she said out loud, "He knows my name."
To risk your own life.
Damn, which was just
is your sacrifice
creepy as fuck.
And it's like right here, it's like that's gameplay.
Death.
Like that's
and
huge,
which
you know?
they didn't tell people till afterwards. Everybody thought this was just cinematic.
Yeah, no, this is them playing.
And it's gameplay of a sort too. I think some of it is like forced viewpoint, forced perspective on some areas. Obviously,
that makes sense.
Very similar to like Half-Life 2 did, or Half-Life and Half-Life 2 both did similar things.
Yeah, it's interesting because like on after this part where things pick up, like her screaming to me was very interesting. You could actually, it sounded like she like legit was like running out of voice. Like not just
the scream was beautiful.
Like it was perfect. Like it sounded real. Like I really believed her. Like she was.
Here's our greasy boy coming out of the water.
Yeah, and
I love the fact that he comes out and he's gone through some type of battle already because like he's got a stump of an arm, or diseased or something.
Yeah.
And I guess it really isn't a stump. It almost looks like broken or something.
Break it.
Because it's like bent the wrong way. He's got either burns or something going on.
With an impossible feat.
Get ready. It's about to start.
All these whispers are just so like borderline creepy.
Get ready.
Yeah. And then like the
also
way that
all this planning. This is great planning here, right? Oh, we got oil. And then we like throw flaming spear at them and like, oh, it's great. But then as you watch it, it's like over and over again, they just throw flaming spears at them. I'm like, throw more oil on them. Well, like obviously you had oil. Like what's they're going through? They're like, oh, run away! Flaming spear bounces off of them. Oh, sorry, spoilers. Flaming spear bounces off of them.
Is her running backwards, like screaming, and then like they keep handing her more spears.
Yeah, right.
Like reaching out. Like they know that she's like the one in charge, right? Like she's the one that obviously is the leader. So they just keep handing her stuff. Like here,
they need to throw more oil on this big boy.
Yeah.
And I like how they bounce off and they don't just stick in and stay there. That's pretty cool. Jumping ahead a little bit. Don't need to see the whole thing. Everybody can watch that individually.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm watching it.
Yeah, that scream there was great.
Yeah. That one too.
Yeah. The voice acting is just amazing.
Like spear.
Yeah, and then up. And also really making it seem very realistic of even severely wounded as this thing is, that that freaked her out. You know, even as super damaged and weakened and whatever as this giant is, they clearly are still an immense challenge to bring down, and they really convey that very well. I mean, they communicate it so well that like this is no easy thing, no matter how much you've prepared.
But yeah, that was another one that caught my attention from the gameplay.
Goomba Turkey says that the first one was praised at how well they handled mental illness and its depictions. So my understanding is there are some similarities between these games. The genre shifts a little bit, and the first one was fantastic from what I understand.
Cool. I may actually pick this one up, maybe.
Yeah,
Interesting.
It looks good, that's for sure. But I digress. There was one other announcement. I guess commercial too. These really all are commercials that we're talking about, really, if we get down to it. One other thing that I kind of was like, whatever. At first. Like at first I was like, there's no, like, I don't even understand why they're doing this. And they renamed Xbox Game Pass for PC to PC Game Pass. And then the more I thought about it, is like, oh no, that's kind of stealth brilliant. Like, because one, if you say Xbox Game Pass for PC, it doesn't roll off the tongue very well.
For sure.
Two, you're saying Xbox first. And if you think Xbox, if you think the word Xbox, you're not thinking about games on the PC. You're thinking about the Xbox console.
Yep.
So shifting it to like, no, your service is Game Pass. You know, Game Pass Ultimate or whatever. Or PC Game Pass or Xbox Game Pass. It's like, it's such a simple thing that I kind of like dismissed really quickly, but in reality, pretty flippin' smart, if you ask me. And also they said that there was going to be some new games coming along quickly, which is like Halo Infinite, as we know, the single player campaign released, Final Fantasy 13-2, learn to read. Also current gen exclusive version of Serious Sam 4 for those that like that. And Stardew Valley. So continue to inject fans into that by making it part of this Netflix type service. So
and actually, and they just announced too, which I don't know how it can work because they did it for Skyrim, but they're so basically, what's his name? What's the maker's name?
Jeff Keighley?
No, the maker of Stardew. It's something
I don't know.
Concern Dave. So Concern Dave actually did announce that he's going to stop, like, kind of working on Stardew, like putting out new content because he's done a really good job. And also he had already announced that he's got a new game coming out, the Chocolatier that we talked about. But one of the last updates that he's going to do is going to be focused on mod support, so that then the game becomes infinite, right? Like then you have mod support, you can just literally mod it out. Going to Xbox Game Pass or PC Game Pass or whatever Game Pass you get, it'll still work because I know Skyrim, they still allow the mods as well, which when they went from Nexus to like even Xbox, they were still able to use mods. So they'll figure it out. But yeah, Stardew, if you haven't played Stardew, man, get out there and play that game. That game is so chill. It's great.
So real quick, before we move on, one last thing about the Game Awards 2021 is I did not get to watch it live because it happened to be on Thursday.
Which we do something
while we're doing the podcast. So I watched it afterwards and I went to my VOD of choice, which in this case is really YouTube, and watched it and thought it was hilarious because I'm sitting there watching the Game Awards and they would go to a trailer and they would show the trailer. Also, and this is actually a good example. One of the games I didn't talk about is a game right up your alley. It's a rhythm-based first-person shooter with heavy metal. We've talked about it before on the podcast. I think we talked about it because I think a lot of the bands were sourced in Canada. But I'm watching that trailer and a bunch of other trailers. It was hilarious because I'm watching them. And it's like, and this trailer, and they would start off, you would hear sound from the trailer. The Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Wondrous Lands, blah, blah, had the same thing. And then all of a sudden, just went dead silent.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, you'd hear the sound again. And at first I was like, oh man, they're having technical difficulties. I was like, oh, they got copyright strikes and they're muting out the music of the trailer. What a fantastic experience from our point of view when we're trying to watch the Game Awards.
Yeah.
So that was kind of hilarious. Anyway.
So moving into a little different sector, sort of. This one is if you are in the IT world in some sort of software security or just literal admin whatever. There was a thing last week, earlier this week, I think it is. It's not been very long. I think it was actually Friday of last week that announced, or Thursday of last week. Anyway, the point is there's a thing called Log4j. And if you've heard that name, it probably haunts you if you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, I'll tell you a little bit about it. So released last Thursday. Yeah, thank you, Bingo, on that one. So Log4j, if you're not familiar, it is what it is part of Java, which a lot of applications may use. And what they do, there's actually it's a vulnerability, is what it is actually classified as. And what it does, it allows users who don't have access to, let's say, a server, to gain access without having passwords or anything. They can literally just inject a certain string of syntax and be able to get right into their whatever PC they're on and be able to just access whatever they want to do. There's a lot, technical more they could go into it if you want to. But the reason how this was found was so Log4j is actually part of Apache with a framework for that, and within Java. And the way that this was discovered was through people playing Minecraft. So in the Minecraft game, you can actually enter strings to the server, like as an admin or even just the chat. And someone was able to inject the certain string into the Minecraft chat and was able to basically gain access to that server. And once that became known, as soon as it was published, they basically started the white collar hackers out there kind of published this and was like, hey guys, there's a huge vulnerability here. And they say this is actually from an AP article. It says the flaw may be the worst computer vulnerability discovered in years. And it was uncovered in a utility that's ubiquitous in cloud servers and enterprise software used across the industry and government. Because again, like I said, this is all based on Java. And if you are using any sort of application that uses Java, this is where this is going to reside. So this is something that's affecting lots of companies. Let's just say lots of companies. Like I said, if you are in the IT world, if you haven't heard about it, I mean, you've at least heard about it. And if you're not already having to deal with it, you're very lucky, because a lot of us are having to deal with it. But it's a very simple fix. So Apache did release a way to fix this, to mitigate this vulnerability, also in the suggestion to actually completely fix it. So right now, the complete fix is to actually upgrade to the newest software, so 2.16, I believe. But if you can't do that, basically, if you don't have the means to do that, or if you have applications that are running Java that maybe the vendor has to figure it out, there is a certain part of the scripts that you can basically modify to not allow these sort of attacks to happen. Which again, they still say this is still not the best way to do it. We highly recommend that you upgrade. As of an hour ago, Apache released another statement saying what we said before about doing this, setting it something to true instead of false. We don't even recommend that anymore. We really recommend you to do this patch that we have right here. You need to install this patch immediately. So Minecraft, obviously Microsoft, they went ahead and pushed out this patch immediately to patch their game, to patch the Minecraft servers and such. And then everything else, any other company that's using this kind of software is going to have to get this figured out. Of course, as soon as this was released, of course, malicious hackers are actually already injecting this code and gaining access to different sites, because obviously, why not? There's, like I said, a lot of companies are using this stuff. So just be very cautious with what you're doing online, and keep up to date with those companies. Maybe read their press releases if you go to their website and they say hey, here's some information about this thing that just happened. This is what we're doing, because they literally can gain access to everything. If they don't do the right thing and actually get this thing patched and get this thing upgraded. So just keep an eye out for that. Yeah, I would say change your password, but that's not really not going to do anything in this point, because they would still have access to that if you changed it. So hopefully the company is going to be the one doing it for you. But it's just been a nightmare for, I know, my friends in the security world. Shout out to you guys, because I know it's been some long nights over the past week. And like I said, even if you're not into the security sector, but it's literally ranked 10 out of 10 for Apache as far as critical vulnerabilities. So it's the worst thing that they have ever seen as far as a vulnerability. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
So-
it's crazy.
Two quick things. First, the SAS Gaming Minecraft server has already been patched.
Sweet.
So
That was
got
pretty quick.
got the initial patch out Friday morning. So that, and also it was requested what the name of that game was. Again, a first-person shooter rhythm game with metal music. It's called Metal: Hellsinger.
Oh, cool. Yeah. We also got PTSD in the chat. We've got some other things that people are saying. So they also need diamond pickaxe and some obsidian to fix the patch. That is true though. You got to
Yes.
get a lot of that to do that.
You do.
But I just wanted to at least touch on that. Like I said, we don't really talk about stuff like this all the time, but since this was such a large scale vulnerability that was exploited and also, like I said, found out through Minecraft, I figured I'd mention it. And just to kind of give you guys a shout out to those people who are working this in the security sector, you guys are rocking on, because this has been intense. So
So we've got a dark topic that keeps coming up. People can't get enough of this dark topic. They don't like white. They want darkness, dark plates.
what are you trying to get at, Brian? This is
Dark
getting
plates. Everybody wants them dark plates for the PS5. Nobody likes the white wings. I guess I don't know. I can make some jokes about feminine hygiene products, but so they don't want the white wings. They want dark wings on these things, I guess. Darkwing Duck all over the place.
Oh my God. Okay.
So a Verge article actually got the dark plates, which is one of the manufacturers, one of the ones that Sony went after a little bit, and they changed their design. So the design didn't look the same as the, removable plates that the PS5 had, which then got it out of, IP and copyright area. And he's like, oh yeah, these are great, I guess. They're pretty good, but now that I have them, and now that Sony has got off of their sweet Katukas and finally decided to release colored plates of their own, that this gentleman's like, now I just want these other plates because they're so much better. And they're the same design as the white plates. But now you've got a bevy of colors from, red, teal, pink, black, and of course, as my wife squeed the other day, a purple one. And if that wasn't enough, they of course have they have matching colored controllers as well. So they actually started rolling out some of the colored controllers as well, just to, match these plates. So pretty cool looking, should be kind of interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Shout out to YouTube for random people saying random things. Just want to
Okay.
say that. There's like some random. It's like the same thing twice now. I actually saw this
That's
last
a bot.
week.
What's a bot?
I know, I get it's a bot, but I'm like, I don't know what that even's supposed to mean. Like they need to fix their bot. It's
No,
broken.
it absolutely means something.
Broken. We need to fix it. Get it fixed. Fix your bot.
So also in the news, and actually an update for one of the stories that we did previously, is that Sony is working on trying to repair its relationship with indie partners, right? So we reported how some indie partners kind of took matters in their own hand and went out on Twitter and said things like, you can't get on the front page of Sony store at all. You can't, like the communication's bad. The people that were supposed to talking to Sony don't have correct information. We're always going back and forth. Not less concerns about pricing and just more of complex interactions with working with Sony and not knowing how to do certain things, not getting information on things, and not getting their game out there. And even more interestingly enough, having problems with sales. Like, they want to do a sale on their game because it's their like second anniversary or something, and they can't. Like every other platform, they can decide to put their product on sale or not, and Sony can't. So apparently these articles and tweets and everything sped some things up at Sony. They're being very careful when they're talking about this. There's a great IGN article out there about this. And they're not saying Sony like all of a sudden started doing stuff. It's like some of these things were too big to have spun up this fast, that they simply probably got a kick in the behind and really increased the speed in which they rolled some of these things out. So apparently 6 months later, they reached out to some of the same anonymous people that had talked to these news outlets in the first place and said, yeah, no, we're getting faster communication. It's very nice. We're getting clearer communication. We're seeing that discoverability has changed. Like the change has been a bit slower on that, they said, but they're now seeing that their games have much better chance at being shown because they have a new area about new releases, so that new releases at least get some time in the limelight as it is, and that they have an indie section that really helps as well. They say that part of that hasn't changed too much yet is the sales part. They really still want that to change, but overall, they've been really happy about the changes. Also, interestingly enough, this isn't just Sony making blind changes. Again, some of these were initiatives they already had in place. They just were taking a while to get rolled out. But apparently, IGN was able to get their hands on the results of a survey. They didn't get the initial survey that was sent out to developers and other partners, but they got the results, the 2021 Global Partners Survey results that was sent back to those people that were included in this survey. It's just a short little 3-page document, doesn't really specify or like talk about the public complaints that were made, but it identifies, how they're trying to improve, how they keep trying to move forward, and, talking about very much of the things that we talked about: reducing complexity, giving a little bit more transparency, teaching them how to do things, giving access to tool sets, modernizing tool sets, ticketing infrastructures, customer service efforts, documentation, all things around whereas a small, sometimes single person game studio, you rely heavily on. So very impressed that Sony is trying to make those strides forward. Again, if you're interested in this, I encourage you to go out and check out the IGN article because it's got a couple more details.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's always good to be able to feel like your voice is heard, especially when it comes to like indie developers. Like that's something we've been working on here, trying to like reach out to indie developers, have them on the show, talk to them, not just about whatever their game is, but like a little bit about themselves as a studio as well. It's something good. Well, with that being said, give us a few minutes and listen to a word. I guess it's still me. I think it's still my ad that I recorded. I listened to my lovely voice, I guess, and listen to a word from our sponsor, Anchor. And we're back. So, what we've been playing. I have been playing pretty much the same game for the last forever because it's that addictive. What I'm talking about is Icarus, right? So we covered Game of the Moment. I talked about it last week. I'm going to talk about it again now. So I've been playing a little bit more. I'm about 30 hours in gameplay time. And the differences now, if you haven't heard me talk about this game or have looked it up or watched the game, go do all of that. I'm not going to cover all of that basic stuff again. But where I'm at now is we're starting to explore a little more of the different, like, I guess, not the beginner missions, which is pretty cool. So we're starting to get into, there's like a branch where we split either to cold or to desert. So with that split, things are getting a little harder. And I literally jumped in with a couple friends of ours, and we did a desert mission, and we dropped, and it was like, you have to go survey some land. It's like the same mission that kind of like we had before, except we're in this desert area now that like, it's another part of the same world. We're just on a different, area. And we drop in and we're like, all right, cool. Let's get our little house built. Let's do the normal things and start progressing. And what we realize is that like the normal resources that we typically have aren't available. So like fiber is typically like any little bush you see, you just pick up fiber from it and then you're good. It does disappear when you collect it. But with this case, since we're in the desert, there were no bushes like everywhere. It's like desert. So you have like basically palm trees and you have rocks, and that's basically it. So we were having to try to figure out like how, like the fiber that we did find, we were trying to figure out how to like every time somebody collected, we're like, all right, how much do we have collectively? How much can we use for this to get a certain weapon or a certain tool? How much can we use to build? Like we were actually having to come together and go like, okay, like I understand you want that, but let's take a vote. Like what's the better option right now? Until eventually someone had to get one of their perks was to unlock the ability to make wood into like sticks and into fiber or whatever. So that was one of those things that like we were like,
that sounds like a pretty basic ability, but
yeah, but it's not. So we were like, it was really tough, like starting off on that, and then obviously water was very scarce too. But like starting off on that planet was a lot different. There was also way different animals. There was elephants, there was like antelope, there was warthogs, there was hyenas. So like all of these things were obviously out to kill us, and we're just like trying to survive and build. And then we had heat storms, so we're having to like fight the heat the whole time too. So we're having to like worry about the sandstorms, the heat storm, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, like it's a whole different type of game. And then flipping that, going back to the cold, same thing. Like going into like the Arctic blizzards, like when you get into a blizzard, you basically start dying pretty quick. Like your health starts going down because like you don't have sufficient clothing and you're getting frostbite. And oh yeah, the polar bears. The polar bears are terrible. They will destroy you so quickly, like real life, obviously, because polar bears are actually pretty vicious. From what I've read, I've never actually met a polar bear, but
except for those Russians that were feeding one that came up to the drive-through. Good video. You should go check that. Feeding it by hand.
Yeah, of course. Russians are always. I was subscribed to a subreddit.
I love one of the comments said that is so dangerous. You should never let a Russian feed you.
Yeah, it's like mine's always like the subreddit I check out's like only in Russia or only something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the game has been very fun. I have incurred a couple bugs, like just like some glitch bug, like visual bugs. Like there was one time where I was in a house and it was snowing inside the house only for me. And then like I got stuck like in the sky at one point, and then eventually it just reloaded the game, and then I just dropped in normal. So a couple of things like that. It didn't stop my game. I didn't lose any progress or anything like that.
Watching you play, a couple things I appreciated. One, no Fs were given for spawning high level creatures around you, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. You were level 1, and there was level 23 wolves coming towards you.
Yep.
And the other thing I appreciated is that they give you a lot of systems in that game. Not just systems like the tech tree, which is cool because then people can specialize, and you kind of talked about that, but really just the systems like the physics systems, because you saw these wolves coming at you and you were like, okay, I got to jump on this rock. He tried to jump, he slid off. He tried to jump again. He tried to jump again. And I was like, you just showed us that if you hit things with your hammer, that they break down like individual parts. They don't just like shatter and fall apart. They break off bits where you hit your hammer. I was like, hit it with a hammer and make a step. And it worked beautifully. You hit it with a hammer like once or twice, and you dug out this like small little divot from the boulder you were trying to jump on. And the next time you jumped up, you jumped and you landed straight in it. And it's like that attention to detail is pretty stellar.
So funny enough, you say that. So we did a mission where we had to hunt this beast. I'm not going to go into details in case there's spoilers, but this beast, we get there, and one of our friends, shout out to Secret, and Captain, and also Narwhal, who were there with me. We're like, we're going to go do this, but the thing is, you have to fight this thing at night. It only shows up at night. So you've seen the game; it's very dark. It's not mostly at night. They mostly at night. But like it's super dark, and if you have your bow in your hand or whatever you have, like you can't hold a torch too because you're bowed up, right? So it's completely dark out there. So Secret has the great idea to use fire arrows. And he's like, I'm going to take the fire arrows and shoot all the trees around us so that everything's lit up. The fire spreads. But we're going to stay on this rock in the middle of all this. So we start to battle this creature. We bait the creature out. And the creature has minions, of course. And so he starts shooting these. And no, I didn't burn down another house. So he started shooting fire arrows at this creature and the minions. So, and we're kind of like on this rock, and we're kind of like we're containing. It's great, except now we have a flaming fireball of creature that decides that no more Fs are given. I'm climbing on that rock with you guys. So now we're all on the rock as there's a flaming creature with us.
Oh, love it.
On fire, which now catches all of us on fire, and we try to jump off the rock, and now we have flaming minions chasing us to the barrier of trees where we can't leave because there's more fire. Let's just say we died a lot for a good while. We'd spawn, run back to try to get her body, we'd die again. Run back to get her body, we'd get caught by fire by something. It was just a mess. We finally beat it, but God bless it. It was ridiculous. Anyway. So Icarus has been really fun. I'm really still enjoying it. If, like I said, if you're in a survival game, it's like $29.99. Yeah, it doesn't have the greatest reviews on Steam. Screw that. Just play the game. I'm telling you, if you're into shit like me, like you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Moving on. The next game I tried, and I haven't really played a whole lot of this yet, but and I'll just give you the basic idea of what it is. It's called Endzone, A World Apart. And what it is a sort of like a city builder slash like city management sim. So very much like I hate to say like trying to think of the games that are like this is like a city builder. Like you basically build, like you start off, the whole thing is it's post-apocalyptic. So it's like the world is in shambles, there's radiation everywhere, and you start off with one little like RV. Similar to, so the reason I don't say City Skylines, and I know you mentioned that in chat, the reason I don't say city, because like it's not just building the buildings, but you also kind of control the people, and that's the part where it's more of a management sim, like almost like a Planet Coaster in a sense. Like you can build the rides and then assign certain roles. So you start with this RV, and obviously you need water, you need food, and so you start building these different like buildings and such, and then you have another like people queue, and the people that you have, you can actually assign them roles. So, or you assign so many to a role. So you just say like I need 5 people to collect water, right? So I need water collectors. So I assign 5 people to water collectors, and they randomly select 5 people to go collect water. And so every role that you have the it opens up a new person, a new like job that they have to have, and you have to assign those people to it. But obviously you need the people to do that. So it's pretty interesting because like it's all post-apocalyptic. So you're grabbing scrap, you're trying to get wood, you're trying to grow crops. But then one of the mechanics that I found really interesting so far is that there's a weather mechanic at the very bottom of the screen. It kind of shows you like the 10-day forecast. And when a drought happens, like it's serious because they're like, make sure you collect water, because if you run out of water, like they're going to die. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. So I've been collecting water. I've got my whole water cistern like completely full, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. And the drought gets here, and I'm like sitting on a lake. Like I'm literally legit like on a lake collecting water. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm good. Except that lake even dries up during the drought. Like it's completely bare. like, and you can tell all the like the leaves and the trees around everything starts getting like, and the soil you have to pay attention to. The soil starts drying out, so like crops aren't growing, and like it's just a mess. But pretty cool game so far. The tutorial's pretty intense. It kind of explains every part of the way. But it seems very interesting because you can like actually assign the roles, and you have you have to worry about their happiness. They have children. You have to like expand. Like when the children get older, they become part of the citizens, or it may get stagnant depending on what you're doing, and it may not grow. You may actually start losing people. But there seems to be like towns around me and different things that I can go explore, like send expeditions out to go gather more resources and such. So pretty cool game if you're into that kind of thing. It's one of those. It's definitely real time, but it's one of those games you can kind of just sit and play it kind of casually while you're maybe doing something else on your phone or whatever. So that's the other one. And then the last game I played this last week is the game I told you guys I would try to report back on, which is Rocket League SideSwipe. I haven't played a whole lot of it, but I will say I definitely installed it, pulled it up on my phone. You do log into your Epic account to play, so it's not just like install it and you just play. Like you actually do play other players, just like Rocket League. Like you can actually load into bots or you can load into people and try to do this mechanic to where you jump, you can double jump, you can do a front flip. Basically, like you can flip in place, you can flip forward, flip backwards, and then you also have the boost mechanic. And it is a lot like the actual Rocket League game of almost like Drop Zone, which Drop Zone is like the floor is like lava essentially. Like when you click it, when you hit it too many times with the ball, it'll start opening up and you drop the ball in. But what you find out, a lot of people in Drop Zone are like just trying to fly around, like trying to hover the ball in the air and just keep the ball in the air. And in this case, it's very similar to that because, like I think Phoenix said it last week, like the goals are actually like midway up the map. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to like keep this ball in the air and then slam it into the goal, but at the same time, the people are like basically blocking the goal, and it was pretty tough. Like we lost. I think I lost like probably 0-4 or something like that. But it was funny because I kept doing really good. I got the ball in the air. I was like almost doing like air dribbles all the way across the map, but like I got there and I couldn't get it into the goal because they would block it. So, and they would come back and just run it right back in. And I'm like, God, how do you do this? But it's very interesting, and it definitely starts off at level 1. Just like Rocket League, you keep going through different levels, different tiers, and it seems pretty cool. If I was a mobile game player and I was that addicted as I was before, I'd say I'd probably be playing it right now. It's something that it looks cool. It's very easy to kind of learn. But I can definitely see like the competitive mechanic to it, just hitting it as well. So I think Psyonix did a really great job, and Epic did a really good job of delivering on a mobile platform for a different type of game. But it's pretty great. So what have you been playing?
Bingo Papadopoulos Pinball-Golf Paradise.
So that's why in the notes it just says a game. Tell me about the Bingo Papadopoulos.
Bingo Papadopoulos Pinball-Golf Paradise.
Oh my God. It's a shooter, right?
No, it's a pinball golf. Bingo Papadopoulos is the gentleman behind it. Do not mess with Bingo Papadopoulos. I mean, like you want to keep this boy happy. He's happy when you're moving the ball up. He don't. Yeah, this is like the trailer. Don't disappoint him. Like if so, you've got this vertical field that you're moving a golf ball up, and if it comes to rest in certain areas, you can like putt it or like try to move it around. Otherwise, it's kind of pinball-ish. But if it goes down, yeah, he starts to frown. He gets very unhappy with you. This game it's just crazy stupid. And it's like, I could not get very far. It's a very long time for you to get from the bottom to the top. And I didn't even come close. The flippers, are normal flippers, but then they have vertical flippers that flip back and forth, and they actually have a use to like move the ball in certain areas. It's it's a long, long, long fall if you don't like make a particular shot. It's crazy. It's also free on itch.io because it's a game. It's a game that was made during basically a game jam. So it was
Nice.
this game was made in like, I don't know, 2 hours or something.
Jesus.
A very, very short amount of time.
And really quickly, back on Endzone, A World Apart, I didn't mention the price. It's currently $11.99 on Steam. It's currently 60% off until December 20th. Normal price is $29.99. So if you are interested in this, it's a good time to pick it up because it's over half price.
And SideSwipe's free to play, right?
And SideSwipe is free to play as long as you need an Epic account, but you can just make one.
Yeah.
I think you can actually play as a guest, but I mean, if you're into this, you're gonna.
But all those games mean nothing once you've seen Mr. Bingo Papadopoulos and his Pinball-Golf Paradise.
Yeah, I think I want to check it out.
It is such a simple concept. It is stupid hard. I guess people have played pinball. I've seen someone who plays pinball on a regular basis and they did fairly well, but still couldn't get all the way to the top of the particular course because the courses are just super tall. It looks like something that'd be really interesting if they made a full game of it and made the controls a little better and just made it maybe a tad easier. But for being a game jam game, it was kind of entertaining.
That's cool. Sweet. Well, I think that's what we played this week. Until next week. I don't know what we're gonna play. I'm gonna have to figure something out. Like I'm definitely addicted to Icarus right now, but I'll have to try to play something the next just so I can have something to talk about because it's I have so many stories. But anyway, so let's get into our shared attention news. I should have the chipmunk voice.
I can make that happen to you.
You could. You're right. You totally could. So starting with the first story here is if you're a fan of Halo, which we've been talking about, Halo Infinite, there has been 2 Easter eggs that have been discovered in the game. Interestingly enough, these Easter eggs are kind of random, but obviously expected because it's obviously Easter eggs, right? So the first one, a player basically went through a cave, and I think you're gonna cue the video up, right?
Yep. It's already
So-
going. Talk.
Okay, so yeah, so the guy's going through a cave, and he's basically at the grapple hook. He's doing a lot of things. He looks up at a certain point, and he realizes there's a hole, like a gap, and just kind of starts grappling up, until he comes across what he finds is a giant hamburger or
No, just it's
sandwich?
deli sandwich. Deli sandwich.
deli sandwich.
Yeah,
And
totally a deli
it's just
sandwich.
There's like music playing, and like it's just this epic thing.
A bunch of grunts that look like they're
like
worshiping it or something.
worshiping it or something, exactly. And it's just some random thing, and they're not, and obviously 343 isn't like, they've been known to have Easter eggs and such. So this is just another part of Halo that people are used to, but it was just a very cool find. And then later on, there's another clip of him finding another glitch, another Easter egg, which is literally same kind of thing, basically going through a certain hole in like the ceiling and going grapple till he gets to the point where he finds a regular Xbox Series. It's an Xbox like original, just like this like massive like Xbox original sitting. Well, it's not massive, I guess, but it's like a TV hooked up with an Xbox original just sitting.
It looks good too, by the way.
Yeah, it does look good. So it's just really neat, seals like Easter eggs like that. But yeah, just like how do they find these things? I don't know how they do that, but it's crazy.
Yeah, both these you can find on YouTube. I don't know the particular. I'll see if I can't do the normal, shoot it up at the corner type thing.
Yeah,
as a call out or something, or get it in the comments because this was not created by us. This was created by someone else, and it's just fantastic looking.
for sure.
Well, darn it. So, sorry, I haven't had the fish there the whole time. Moving on. There was this guy who had an old Game Boy, and of course, the Game Boy comes, the one of the peripherals that came with the Game Boy is the Game Boy camera to take pictures, and they were like these like little itty bitty black and white pictures, blah blah blah. But no, he went a little bit above and beyond. He 3D printed an adapter that he could put Canon lenses on, and
That's awesome.
and he takes pictures with these Canon lenses. It's amazing because he's shooting across the room at something that is on his wall, and you can't even see what it is very clearly. But he's using a telephoto lens.
Yeah,
and when he does it, he takes his picture and he shows it, and it shows these cars because they're die-cast cars like Hot Wheels sitting on the wall, like what looks to be 20, 30 feet away.
Oh, yeah.
And he takes a picture of it with this telephoto lens attached to an adapter that is connected to a Game Boy camera accessory. It's completely batshit. Oh wait,
That's
there's
awesome.
there's the actual die-car cars. Sorry.
That's awesome. Oh man. So if you're like me and you ordered a Steam Deck, not a Stream Deck, but a Steam Deck,
Oh, you said it right. Good.
they released some more information about these, which is actually pretty good. So if you're like me and you ordered the 64 gig model, which is the smallest model they had, because why not? We had for science. I don't want to spend $700. I'll spend $400, whatever. Or 500. I don't know how much it was. Anyway, I'll eventually pay for it. They've been delayed till February. They were supposed to come out this
You'll
month.
pay for it, all right.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out this month. It's been delayed till February. But what they did is they published actually the new Steam OS image is actually shrinking in size from expected initially 24 gigs to now 10 gigs, which is over 2 times smaller. So that actually is going to give us more space on the 64 gig model because most of the OS isn't going to take up most of that time or most of that space. They also touched up a bunch of different things, just some improvements overall. But one of the main things they did point out was that it says BIOS 100 released for units with Micron memory and BIOS 29 for units with Samsung memory. And after updating to the version, you'll be prompted to install a new BIOS update next time you connect your computer to AC. But what that means is that they're going to actually be shipping these devices with multiple different memory from different companies. So they're actually these devices are going to be somewhat different depending on the one you get, the version, the batch that you actually get the result from. So
gets you around the supply chain issues, and like they've been saying, it's just a PC.
Yep. So cool with that. Just heads up.
Cool. Next up, we're talking about just again another update from last week, which is the announced Xbox History series. And there's going to be 6 episodes, each of them about 40 minutes long. That's going to be out. You're going to see it on YouTube. That covers all the way from the original Xbox right up to the Series Xbox. And the 6 different chapters are Chapter 1, Renegades. Then the Valentine's Day Massacre. And it didn't turn on is Chapter 3. Chapter 4, cool. Now what? Chapter 5, the Red Ring of Death. And Chapter 6, which I totally appreciate. TV or not TV?
It's funny, the Red Ring of Death, that brings back, like, that still has a place in my heart. Ugh.
I never had one.
I did. I had 2, actually.
Yeah, I went through 5 Xbox 360s, and all of them were different issues. They weren't the Red Ring of Death.
Yeah. I had the first, so I bought the first one refurbished from Tiger Direct, I think it was, and I got it, worked for like a good month, and then Red Ring of Death, and then I tried some hacks they had online. It was like wrap the power supply in like a towel or something because it was the soldering was the issue for the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you overheat it enough, like it would actually melt the solder back into place and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I did that. It worked for like another week or two, and then it failed again. So I sent it back. And then or maybe this is the second one, but then I got another one, and then eventually that one like actually worked for a long time, a couple of years, and eventually got rid of it.
I should have just started another timer there for you.
I thought about it, but yeah, it's all good. So if you're a fan of the Splinter Cell series, you're a fan. If you're a fan of the Splinter Cell series, Ubisoft Toronto Ubisoft in general has greenlit the development of a remake of the initial Splinter Cell. So they said the development team is going to be led by Ubisoft Toronto, which was the actual developers of the Splinter Cell Blacklist. And it's going to be using the new Snowdrop engine, which is going to be used for the Division games coming up, also the Avatar game coming up, and some more Star Wars games that are unannounced. They said basically like we could have made a remake, or like a remastered version of the game, but like at this point they're like, let's just make make a new game. Let's just make a new game, a remake of the old game. But that way we can use the new engine, do everything the right way, and then that way it's a fun time. So we should see that sometime in the near future.
Well, lastly, we got a quick little story, which is the fact that I believe it was yesterday that I saw it, Minecraft videos at YouTube crossed a threshold. There have been 1 trillion views of Minecraft on YouTube. Over 150 countries, over 35,000 creators that could be currently different genres between animation, just doing role play, Minecraft, telling stories, survival games, Hunger Games, multiplayer. So lots of different genres, lots of different reasons to watch it. Certainly among one of the biggest games in the world.
Yeah. Obviously, as we started the news with one of the stories relating around that, had nothing to do with this, but yeah. Cool. Well, that's been our shorts for the day, and that has been what has got our attention for this past week. So usually we go into emails, but currently we do not have any emails. So if you want to send us an email, goa@sasgaming.com. We'll obviously read it, and we'll get the whole thing. Also, if you have any feedback or suggestions that you'd like to see on the show, send them over. Tell us, what you think would be cool to hear. Like if you have something that you'd really want to know more about, or maybe hear our opinion, why. But if you did, feel free to send that to us. We'll check it out and maybe we'll incorporate it. And then obviously, if you want to follow us more, sasgaming.com. You can go there, find all of our links to all of our details, all our socials, and all the socials, but the sites that we like to stream and things on. You'll find all of that. And then if you want to, maybe spend a little change to help us out as well, which you can. Not saying you have to, but if you want to, you can check out our patreon.com/sasgaming to see all of the things that we offer on our Patreon. And we're open to suggestions on that as well. So if there's something on there that you would like to see, or if there's something on there that's not there and you want to see it or whatever, feel free to do that. Send us over an email again to the email below. And we'll check it out. So one more week until Christmas. We'll have one more episode next week, right before Christmas Eve. And to all of our fam out there, we hope that you guys have a good rest of your work week this week. So one more day to go. Hopefully next week will be really relax and chill. And then we'll roll right into New Year's and then 2022. So until next time, you guys take it easy and we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
See ya.